And good evening and welcome to City Focus. I'm Marty Olsen, your host, and I'm delighted to welcome back my friend and yours, beloved Grace Carter. And thank you for carving out an hour of your day today to come on the show and
my pleasure.
Be here on the set. But you're quite familiar with the drill here. You've been on the program a number of times for different reasons. You ran for mayor.
Yes, I did.
And you ran for state rep.
Yes, I did.
And you came in another time with family members with issues at school with
right.
music.
That's true.
And I might add that one of our candidates, Sarah Turner, who's running for the school board, she was familiar with your issues.
Oh, yes.
Because she's got a daughter who plays an instrument and got wrapped up in all that
It's true.
silliness. And I guess it's been a real merry-go-round over there with the music at the high school, New London High School.
It has been. It's not been advantageous for the students at all. And it's been a problem with the music department and the administration working with the parents. They're not willing to hear some of the issues, but how can you fix them if you don't hear about them? So Sarah is a very strong advocate for education for our children, and I think she would be phenomenal on the Board of Education. She's done her homework, she's done her research, she's passionate, and she's a great mom.
Well, and I agree with you on all points. And she's been on the program a couple of times this cycle, and she brings her passion with her.
Yes, she does.
She is terrific, and I think that she has a bit of an advantage in that she's been a lifelong Democrat.
Yes.
And she changed parties because she was just so disgusted with the local Democratic Party. So she didn't want to run with that group. She came to the Republican Party and asked to run on our ticket. So
yes,
if the baseline will get out and vote for her with the Republicans, and she's got a lot of friends that are in the Democratic Party who I think are still going to support her, and that may be what gets her over the top.
I believe that, Marty. I also believe that she came to the Republican Party, as you said, she wanted people who were really passionate about what they believed in for the city and who were willing to do the work, not just talk the talk, but walk the walk.
Yeah.
And I think she's a great example of that. And I'm glad that she's on in the party.
Well, I am too. But you fit that MO as well. You're passionate about the city.
I love the city.
And you bring a breath of fresh air. You're not the typical politico. You want to do what's right for New London.
Absolutely.
You're not getting tied up in knots with some of the stupid stuff that goes on down in City Hall.
You said that. That's
Listen,
true.
I've been there, so I know what goes on down there. But I would, if you give me just a moment, I'd just like to mention our other candidates.
Yes, absolutely.
And let folks know who we've got running on the Republican ticket. For City Council, we have Gina Phillips, and Gina's terrific. She runs Northeast Paving, and so she's in a heavily male-dominated industry, blacktopping and paving.
Yes.
And so she's a businesswoman, she's sharp, she knows the city like the back of her hand, and I think she'd be a terrific asset on the City Council. She ran 2 years ago, and I think that she's poised well to get over the top this time.
I believe that too. And you said it yourself. She is very passionate about this city. She just, again, she's one of those that walk the walk. And I've seen her, I'm out on the streets a lot. I see her a lot of places. And she does things that no one ever knows about for the people who are unhoused. She provides food for them. She has blessing boxes, she calls it, in certain locations in the city. And she goes regularly to fill them up with everything from food to clothing, just so that people can go there and get what they need without cost.
Yep.
And they look forward to seeing her. Not only is she generous, she's also just a beautiful person in general.
Yep, I concur. And I think that last year well, 2 years ago, last cycle, she kind of got in late, and challenging. It's hard to run a campaign in a very compressed amount of time.
Yes.
And the Democrats do hold a significant advantage in voter registration. So to give yourself a fair shot, you got to get out early, and you got to work, got to hustle. It's not going to come to you. You got to go and get it.
Especially as a first-time person running.
Absolutely.
To get your face out there, to get your name out there. She does have an advantage because she does own a company that's very well known in the city. She does excellent work. And just the people that have used her services should be on her.
Well, I think she's in.
Blessing.
Yeah. And let's see, who else we have? We got Hans Hartman. And in all candor, I didn't know Hans until he kind of jumped into the party and the town committee this summer. And but he's been very quick to take advantage of coming on this program. So he's been on, I think, 3 times this cycle already. And whenever I say, Hans, you're ready to go, he beats me here. So, but I enjoy having him. He's very, he's also passionate. He's got a he's involved with the acting and things of that nature. So he's comfortable talking. He's not
Yes.
shy and reserved. You don't have to wind him up. He just goes.
And I think he's that way with everything. He's also an inventor. Great guy, easygoing, easy to talk to, listens. He listens, and I think that's an asset for this city because he cares. You know, he's like you said, he's new to this political thing, but he's raring to go to make valuable changes in the city for everyone.
That is true. And then we have Aaron Ide.
Yes.
You see these signs that say I'd vote for him or I'd, whatever it is, but it's a cute sign.
Yes, it is.
But this is his 3rd rodeo running for office for city council. And quite frankly, I mean, he's a real smart young man. He's
Yes.
an engineer. He went to Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute up in Troy, New York, and got his engineering degree. I did RPI for an MBA, but they had a Hartford campus, which I went to a number of years ago. But I mean, he brings a skill set that would be really beneficial to the city.
Right. He sits on a couple of committees for the city, so he kind of knows the ins and outs of what's going on. And as you said, he's brilliant. I love talking to Aaron. He gets down to the nitty-gritty when it comes to details. He will go to the greatest lengths to get the information that's needed, get the facts. And he would be a great asset to the city.
Yeah. The key for him is he's got to get out. He's not from the area, he's from New Jersey. And so it's important when you're running for office to get out and meet as many people as you can, shake as many hands. Hi, I'm Marty, and I'm not running. I'm running away.
Yeah, well, Aaron, he's been here, a few years, and he's worked with the youth in the robotics department at the schools. He's just easy to get, to me, he's very easy to get along with. He listens. Again, I cannot overstate. The man is brilliant, and we could use some of that in the city.
I think so. I really do. And outside of yourself, and we'll get into your campaign momentarily, but we have John Russell, and John has run a number of times, and he has served one term back 2009 to 11, and I was on that council. Matter of fact, that was the year I served as mayor, and John was deputy mayor that year that I served at the helm. And again, there's another person who's really gung-ho on New London, and
Absolutely.
I mean, the passion of our candidates across the board, I feel very comfortable with. It's not like we had to pull teeth to find people who really didn't want to run and put them on the ticket. Everybody's gung-ho.
Yes, and not only not pull teeth, you also have people who really care about what they're doing. It's not rubber stamping across the board. It's people who've given a lot of time and consideration to running. John Russell, I think of him as a grandfather in the city. I probably have a few years on him, but just his whole demeanor. He's very soft-spoken at most times.
I've got you pegged at 39. He's much older than that.
Okay, then that's fine. Then we'll just leave it at that. Don't edit this.
Well, we won't do that.
Don't edit this.
We're live right now. So.
Okay, good. Well, John is very easy to talk to, listens, has a lot of information from running so many times and serving on the council. So again, great pick for the city. Great pick.
So, I mean, like I say, I feel very comfortable with the candidates, our slate across the board, that we've got a good group to choose from. And quite frankly, the Democrats have been having a little infighting, and that's to our benefit to see that maybe we'll get some people elected. I mean, the last 2 or 3 cycles have been all Democrats across the board,
Yes.
and that's not healthy. The Democrats like to promote that they're, we're diverse, but there's no diversity of thought or ideas.
That's right. That's true. Very good. Whether or not they're infighting or not, I cannot say. I sat in on one of those meetings. But I will say this, that we, as we're running on the Republican slate, we're very focused. We see what's happened in the past, and we see what's needed. And we have diversity on the Republican Town Committee, which means to me we have people who really think about things. And sometimes we don't always agree, but we agree to disagree. And we work it out because we all have the same heart for the city. To see New London be that gem, that jewel on the 95 corridor, as I call her.
Yeah. And we have 3 candidates for school board. We mentioned Sarah Turner, and
Yes.
she's a dynamo. I mean, parent, but she attends all the meetings. She knows what's going on. I suspect she knows more of what's going on than many of the school board members.
I'd say all of them. I'd say all of them.
I mean, she knows her stuff, and I'm going to put it in this fashion. When elected, she'll hold the administration their feet to the fire. She's not going to just go along to get along. That's not her style.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I think I've been into, in the city council meetings and really observed how it's run. And I think that there are many people there who go along to get along. I think there are people there who care, but they are not exercising their voice to make the change.
Well, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, we have our mayor basically does whatever the heck he wants, and there's no pushback. And I just think that that's unhealthy.
It is unhealthy. You do need, like you call it, diversity of thought. You do need that because we have different perspectives, all of which are valuable to me, Where you have not met the people that I've met, you have not lived the life that I lived, neither have I lived your life and gotten the experiences you've gotten, but together we can make a complete picture, a better picture of what's needed.
Yeah, well, this time I'm not running, so you'll have to do this one. I'll have to guide you a little bit, see if we can get you over the top. And then we also have John Martin, who's running for school board. He's also our town chair.
Yes.
And he's an educator. I mean, he's spent 21 years as a teacher in the New London system at the high school, teaching social studies and history, economics, civics, things of that nature. And he loves government.
Yes.
And he certainly knows the educational system in our district from the inside out. And I think he would be a terrific asset if elected.
Again, John has quite a passion for education. He's still in the education right now.
He is, yeah. He's teaching up in a private girls' school, Northern Knowledge.
Yes, he is. And they love him. He's compassionate. He's a very good teacher. And again, he's been in the school system. He knows how it's run. He sees the ins and outs. He knows the things that are not working, but he also knows what he can bring to the Board of Education to make it work better.
Yeah, and he knows the questions to ask.
He does.
And who to ask them to.
That's correct.
And our last candidate is Kat Goulart, and Kat's a past town chair. And she has run for office a number of times. She ran for state rep It was a special election. That was after Chris Soto got a job in Hartford, and Anthony Nolan was nominated by the Democrats, and she ran against Nolan. And she's run for council a couple of times, and now the Board of Ed. So, I mean, she knows the political game, for lack of better words. I mean, she knows what to do, and she's serious about it. She has an opportunity to succeed.
She does. She absolutely does. She, to me, is the hometown girl. And actually, her mother and I went to school together.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes, we did. It was a pleasure to reunite with her. Again, Kat is, like what I say, a hometown girl, and she's been in the game a while. She knows the questions to ask again, and who's behind what. So I think she has a good shot at it this time.
I think so, too. Now, as it noted at the top, I mean, you've run for mayor and you've run for state rep.
Yes.
But for those who may not know you, who is beloved Grace Carter? I mean, are you, you're a local girl, right?
Yes, sir, I am. 7 generations deep.
7 generations, that's pretty deep.
That's very deep. From my great-grandfather to my great-grandchildren. I have a great-grandson who goes to St. Bernard's, and his sister is now a sophomore in college. So my great-granddaughter's a sophomore in college. And my parents, well, my mother was born here, and my father was born in Hartford, but this is my hometown. And we have even deeper roots than that. I have done my genealogy, and my great-grandmother's father was Narragansett, and it's come down the line. So we have deep roots in New England. I have 9 children, and 18 grandchildren, and 8 great-grandchildren.
So 9, 18, how many great-grandchildren?
8.
8?
8 great-grandchildren, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. So we're here.
Yes, you are.
We're here. Sometimes when I go out, I'll have a friend of mine who, she's in her car, I'm in my car, and she wants to get to a certain point. I just say, follow me. And she gets such a kick out of the streets that I know that she never knew existed in the city. So I love New London, as I said. I don't like right now what I see happening in the city. I think we can do better. A person that I met recently came up from the South after visiting his family, and he said he could not believe what they're doing. It's a seaport town like ours, and he could not believe the difference in the cities. He also is a member of a municipality, this municipality. I'm not going to mention any names, but he was really surprised about the big difference, how they're doing so well and we're not faring so well here.
New London we have a propensity we can't get out of our own way. If there's an opportunity to stub our toe, we do it. And it's, you shake your head, I mean, in terms of our location, on the water, Long Island Sound and the Thames River, and the boating and the submarines, sub-base, Coast Guard.
Right.
New London has extraordinary assets
It does.
that we don't fully take advantage of.
That's
In
very
some cases, if at all.
Well, I think it's being taken advantage of, but not publicly.
Touche.
You know, I just wanted to share a little something about myself. Since you did ask me, I am a Christian. I absolutely believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in the Bible, and I get a lot of my passion, well, if not all of it, from my relationship with God. And it doesn't take rocket science to be in a political arena. It just takes the Constitution and the Bible, because they back each other up. This country was founded on biblical principles. People say that there were a bunch of old men who got together and decided to annex from England, but it's different. It's bigger than that. They lost their lives, their property, their fortunes. Some of them lost families just to make sure that this country came into being. And some people may think it's strange that here is a black woman in America fighting for the integrity of America and the Constitution. Right now, I feel like there's a lot of baby anarchy trying to happen here, being birthed here. But I just say that if we follow those two things in everything that we do, in our everyday dealing with each other, the truest religion, people say, oh, she's religious. No, I'm not religious, but the truest religion is our dedication and our love for God and our dedication and our love for mankind. That's the purest form of religion. It doesn't mean you have to be of any particular denomination. It means that you have to love God and love your fellow man and do right by both. So I thought it was important to let people know this is what I stand for. Truth, integrity, love of God and love of country, love of our fellow man. I want people to know who they're electing as their representative on the city council. I want them to know that their interest is my interest in this city. This city deserves so much more than what it's getting right now. And I believe that some people have forgotten the principles of integrity and truth and honesty, fair dealings. There was a young lady who was in our ministry before, and she wrote this long dissertation about New London, and it was stated, it was like a poem. And she said in this poem that New London was known as a welfare city, but because God had his eye on New London, it's no longer going to be known as a welfare city, but a city that's well and fair.
Uh-huh.
And so I've never forgotten that. And that's what I think about when I look at New London. And the people who care about New London, like the names of the people that you spoke about, you know. Everyone has a genuine love for this city and wants to see it do better. But you know, it's going to cost us everything. It's going to cost us our pride. It's going to cost us, you know, our prejudices. It's going to cost us everything to come together and to see to it that this city becomes that well and fair city that it needs to be.
Yeah, well, you know, as you've outlined, the need for a diversity of thought. Not anybody who's serving uptown now or who's running has a monopoly on good ideas.
It's true. It's true.
So, you know, you have to be able to listen.
Exactly. Exactly.
And not be shy when you have what you think is a good idea, whether it's in support of a particular topic or perhaps it's maybe you think it's not the best idea and it needs to put the brakes on it, but to stand up and be counted.
Not just shy, but intimidated. You cannot be intimidated and you cannot be shy. If you think what you have is going to contribute to the betterment of New London, then speak up. And you should be allowed to do that. There's no one.
Yeah, well, this is part of the issue that our Democratic competitors are dealing with, because a couple of candidates this past term have had the audacity to challenge Mayor Passero, and he doesn't like that. And he saw that they didn't get on the ticket, and they had the primary.
That's unfortunate, because in America, that's totally opposite of what we believe, how the city was how this country was founded. The founding fathers they went through great pains to see to it that people were represented. Even though it was a time of enslavement, there were still people like Thomas Jefferson who was against that. You know, he got voted down several times when he tried to pass laws, you know, bring up, you know, laws to stop slavery. Again, no one should have a monopoly on your tongue except you, you know, and your conscience.
Well, you know, a consideration too is that, and this is what I love about our form of government and the Constitution, and that we govern ourselves.
It's true.
Is that it allows the people to make changes. Just because the Constitution was approved 250 some odd years ago, changes could be made. Mistakes are made. And things have to be changed.
They do. They do.
And I mean, it may take time. Our government is also designed to not be boom, boom, boom. It's designed for deliberation.
Absolutely. It's the longest standing constitution in the world. It really is, our constitution. And yeah, some things need to be changed, but there's a way to do it.
Well, that's my point.
With everyone's interest, taken into consideration. It's a tough job to be representing people. You have to really, basically, I think, know who you are, know what you stand for, and I think it's equally as important for people to know the content of your character. Not just the color of your skin or the amount of money in your bank account.
It sounds awfully familiar.
It is very familiar. Or the money in your bank account, or how long your family's been in charge, or whatever. That's why it's important to be transparent. And that's what I stated. One of the things I want to see, and will see in City Council, is more transparency. Not just in the budget, but just in the way we deal with people. Because this is what it's all about. It's not about concrete and buildings and money. It's about people and their lives. There are people leaving this city right now who've been here, like myself, many, many generations, because they can't afford it.
And that's a problem. I mean, right now we have a good number of large apartment complexes that have been built, being occupied, and there's others that are on the drawing board.
Mm-hmm.
And they are all high end.
Mm. Yes.
And it's like they're being geared for the expansion of electric boats. And these engineers that are getting employed over in Groton, some in London, and a lot of young people just getting out of college. They're engineers, they're able to afford this type of housing, geared primarily, not exclusively, for singles, young couples, mm-hmm. but it's not geared for families.
Exactly. And that's a problem. That's a big problem.
And empty nesters. You may get some folks that have retired. Mm-hmm. Those apartments may be good for those folks. But for the folks that live in New London, a lot of folks can't afford this stuff. Exactly. And with the rise in these rents in these new places, it's also raising the rent in every other rental unit in the city.
That's true. Whether
it's 2 or 3 family homes or 4 family. So it's a good environment for landlords, but it's not necessarily a good environment to be a tenant.
For sure. Just going by what you just said, I was thinking about the fact that they're building all these multi-unit, luxury, high-end complexes. What about building some single-family homes and inviting families in? These new buildings are coming in with 10, 20-year tax abatement.
Well, these 20-year abatements, I think, are absolutely crazy.
Yeah. So
years ago, 7 years used to be like the limit.
Yes.
Now we're 3 times as much. It's just, I think it's crazy.
It's killing the city. It's actually strangling the city, because the single people who have their own homes, they're carrying the weight of this. There's a lot of 501c3 tax-exempt organizations
Absolutely.
in our city. We are a city that takes in everybody, everyone. We're so tiny, I don't see how that makes any sense. I'm not saying, I'm not talking gentrification, I'm saying that
but that is a problem. Our city is being gentrified.
Has always been gentrified.
Well, but I think it's being exacerbated with these new apartment buildings. Mm. Down at Fort Trumbull, where we had the eminent domain issues, I mean, there are plans that have been approved for, I believe it's 400 or 500 units down there.
Yes.
That'll be the largest apartment complex in the city. And when the Fort Trumbull program was initially approved, which is now 25 years, it's hard to believe, but the state of Connecticut, because they were highly vested in terms of funds, they had a maximum of 104 units.
Really?
Really. And that proved to be a difficult number for developers because they couldn't get a return, at least not the return they were looking for. But now, here we are 25 years down the road, and it's been approved to put in 4 times as many.
Yeah. On the same piece of property.
That's correct. And the reason for having the limit at 100 years ago was primarily because of flooding
Yeah.
and also getting out of there. If there was a fire or floods or whatever,
Exactly.
I mean, emergency, getting everybody out at the same time could have proved very, very challenging. And it still is. That hasn't gone away.
That's true. The land mass hasn't changed. That is definitely a problem for the city. I understand that EB has been around. It's been a lifesaver for a number of generations. People working there, place of employment. To build your city around that, bring in engineers and so forth. To me, engineers and people like that coming into EB, to me, it's transitory. They're going to be here. If they get a better job somewhere else, they're going to leave. We're going to have a bunch of 1-bedroom apartments, very expensive, that families can't move into. You know, so they're wasted. Yes, EB says, oh, for the next 10, 20, whatever years, we're going to have work. But people, they get married, they have families, they can't stay there, they move to Waterford. They'll move to Uncasville.
And that brings up a very critical topic, and that is, although it's not directly related to the city council, it's related to our community growing, and that is the quality of our schools.
Exactly. Exactly.
And if you are a young couple and you're thinking, or maybe you have a family and you've got young children, you know, the $1 million question is, we send them to the New London Public Schools, which are not performing well. We're scraping our knuckles with New Haven and Hartford, Bridgeport, at the bottom of the state. And that's not an environment that young people who have a choice are going to gamble with their kids' education. They'll go to Waterford or East Lyme or some other place, or private school.
Exactly. They just did it in the newspaper a few weeks ago. They just did they graded all the schools in Connecticut.
Yep.
And everything from A+ to F, you know. New London came in as a C or C-. And that was pretty interesting. Waterford came in with very high marks. Other schools in the area that came in with really high marks. New London did not fare well at all.
Yeah, and if you're coming into the area, and you've got children, young children, the first thing you're going to look at is, how are the schools?
Exactly. You're not going to want to live in this city if the schools are not doing well. You can commute. You can commute from Rhode Island. You know, I know people who used to live here and commute to work in Quonset Point.
Yep.
You know, so they're going to live in another city, spend their money in the money they make here, spend in another city. You know, and again, all these 1-bedroom apartments, high end, you can't rent them to families. Are you going to knock out walls and put in extra bedrooms? I don't think so.
Well, like I say, they're not designed for families.
It's true. It's very true. And that's a problem, because when this was designed, was thought out, it wasn't thought out. It was, I think, the bottom line, the dollar figure was what was seen. And those kind of decisions behind closed doors, not bringing in the community. I think we should go back to having town meetings. I mean, real town meetings. Not something you have to suffer through the first 2 hours and you're falling asleep because they're doing their piddly stuff, but real, honest to goodness town meetings where people can voice how they feel and just get everything out in the open. I've attended the city council meetings. It's sparsely attended, unless there's someone getting an award and their family is there, or unless there's something so crucial that, you know, they'll come out. But the kind of decisions that are being made, like 20-year tax abatements, and they can say, we put it out there, you know, it was public knowledge, you can go back and you can read it, but yeah, did you?
Yeah. So, you know, one thing that's happening, and it's illegal, and just because you can doesn't necessarily mean you have to or should.
We should.
And that is the Democrats, because they're all Democrats on the school board and the council, they're allowed to caucus, which means that they can meet outside of the public meeting.
Yes.
They can meet in somebody's, have a picnic and or whatever, but meet in private. Decide what they're going to do, come into their meeting, and just
Vote.
vote. They don't discuss things, and you don't know what the heck's going on.
Exactly.
And that's bad business.
It is.
Not good for our community. Not one iota.
It's true. That's very true. And that's why, to bring up your point, diversity of thought is necessary. You have to have a mixed council.
And this is where having, any of our candidates, and hopefully it's more than one, 2 or 3 or 4, that can, when they start doing that kind of stuff, Madam President or Mr. President of the council, I object.
Exactly.
I want to discuss this here. One of the things that people don't realize, and I brought this up on numerous occasions as a counselor, but at city council meetings, it's the only place where the public has an opportunity to see all their counselors in the same place at the same time. So if you've got something to say and you want to address the public, that's where you do it.
Exactly.
Now, if they're hiding and embarrassed about what they're doing and they put a lid on it, well,
Exactly. My understanding of a city council representative is you represent. You represent the people. You're not going to have Joe Smith and Annie Jones sitting up there. You're going to have the person that you trusted and you elected to that office to represent you, your interests, your concerns. And if decisions are being made behind closed doors and then it's just spat out, take it or leave it, that's not fair to the community. That's definitely not fair to the community. So I agree with you. Those caucuses, that's why there has to be diversity on there. Those caucuses, they're bad business for the whole community. If you're just making a decision and then coming out and this is how it's going to be. That's not the American way.
yeah.
They're allowed to govern because of us.
And I've had folks who've questioned me over time, what can you do if you're the only Republican on the council, the only one? I says, often my position may be I'll be the only one voting in a particular way. I can live with that. I vote what I think is in the best interest of the city. But even being singular, I can think of 2 big issues in my last term where from the minority position was able to block what I thought was bad policy. One was when the city was going to change our garbage pickup to plastic bags. And I fought that. I got Tranquita on board, and we were able to get 2 others, and it also gave the public an opportunity to come in and air their concerns.
Right.
And they didn't like the idea. And it ended up being defeated. Now I look at that negative vote was a positive because it was in the best interest of the city.
That's right.
And it came from the minority member of the council.
Yeah.
And another issue had to do with they wanted to move the city offices to Shaw's Cove, which is quite a bit
Distance,
out of the central business district. And if you move everything out of City Hall, why go downtown?
It's true.
So we fought that, and we fought having the mayor wanted to just hand this to a developer that initially with the old New England Savings Bank building. And I fought that. I said, this has got to go out for proposals. You just don't give that to somebody.
Exactly.
You give everybody a chance. And it ended up going to a guy down in Shaw's Cove, but we were able to defeat that And we, again, gave the public an opportunity to weigh in.
Mm-hmm.
John Russell gets all over this, is that these items are supposed to get 3 readings.
That's right.
So there'll be reading tonight, reading next week, 3rd reading the following week.
Mm-hmm.
Gives everybody a chance to listen to people. The public gets a chance to get their 2 cents worth in, and you massage things and hopefully you make it better. But these guys don't do that. They waive the 3 readings and they just do it all in one night. So the
By
public
attendance.
gets, they just are out of the picture.
Yep.
That's wrong.
It is wrong. It is wrong. I agree. And that's some of the things that I believe that needs to be changed. And I know the people who are running for city council, the other candidates, they feel the same way about it. And I know they're going to make a change. You know, we want to make a change because it's about the people of the city. It's not about the administration getting what they want all the time. It's about what's best for the city, all of the city.
Well, it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And there are a number of other topics that, it's not one single issue that's going to make or break the city. That's one thing that, and I'm basically a lifer here in New London, that, and we've tried a number of bullet type of solutions to things. Well, if we do this, let's say like Captain's Walk, all our problems will be gone. Well, that didn't work. If we do Fort Trumbull, well, all our problems will be solved. Well, that didn't work either. So these bullet solutions are not. You got to integrate things.
You do.
What do we have that we're not taking advantage? We talked earlier about the assets we've got a tremendous amount of small historical sites that we don't market.
It's true.
I mean, we have the fort, we have the burial ground, we have the mill, we've got the custom house, we've got the Hempstead houses, and on and on and on. And the people who run these places, they don't play well together. They ought to have operating hours that are all the same. So if you come in from out of town, you can have a nice little walking tour and see New London. In our history, Nathan Hale Schoolhouse. I mean, it's just, and it's all, and that's one of the benefits of being so small and compact.
That's true. That's very true.
So,
It shouldn't be so difficult. If everyone, I say this, there's a lot of chiefs and not enough Indians.
Well,
Everyone wants to be the key player in the game instead of working together.
So much can get accomplished when you don't worry who gets the credit.
Exactly. That's very true. That's very true.
I mean, but there's too many egos get involved.
That's true.
Well, if so-and-so's on board, I can't support that because I don't support that individual or I don't support that party, and everything just kind of grinds to a halt.
And that's I'm glad that you said that because that's the problem with co-signing a party. That's why I'm here, to let people see who I am as a person, what you're getting, who you're voting for, instead of, I don't like Democrats, I'm not voting for any Democrats. Well, I happen to know there's a couple of good, not good like everybody else is bad, but there's Democrats in this city, I think are phenomenal people who have good ideas, maybe not can't voice them in that particular arena, but I've had one-on-one conversations with these people. They're phenomenal people. Same thing with the Republican Party. That's the problem with just voting across the board instead of knowing who you're voting for. You're not putting any thought in it. What do these people stand for? How do they feel about this city? What do they really feel about what's going on in the city? What are they willing to do? Are they willing to stand up and take a stand and voice, and just show that this is not correct, that's not correct, or this is better? So that's just it. You have to know the people that you're going to vote into office, because you have to know what their heart is. Anybody can say the right thing, can put on the political mask, but who is behind the mask? What do they want out of it? And those are tough questions, you know? They're not easy questions to answer.
Well, and there are times, from time to time, when the issue before the council may have what I would call, two bad answers. I mean,
Worse and worse.
where you vote this way, you kind of, I don't like that. But if you vote the other way, neither. Occasionally you'll run into that, and you just swallow hard and you pick one and pray you did okay.
Yeah, well, that's where open discussion comes in.
Yeah.
You know, and just where are you coming from with that? Why? Well, help me understand why you think the way you think, so I can understand, so we can come to some kind of, agreement on it, some middle ground on it. It's not you're wrong, I'm right, or vice versa. It's like, let's get together and figure out what's best. What's best?
Now, one thing I've observed, and it's been primarily over my lifetime, is that urban renewal, redevelopment, and New London has an attitude, administratively as well as with our elected officials, that if somebody else is paying a third party, well, it's a grant. It's not our tax dollars. It's a grant.
Mm.
But they don't bother to look at the grant says, well, we're going to pay for this, and you're going to pay for that.
Fine print.
So what are you getting? What are the those things that you have to know the whole picture. You just can't look at a sliver.
It's true. What's it going to cost you in the end? And that's true. You have to look at it. And I think that's been a problem in New London. They go for the shiny, quick fixes.
Absolutely.
And it costs in the end more than it would have cost up front.
Yeah.
And then again, diversity of ideas and thought, diversity of thought. It's necessary. No one can see the whole picture. It's not if I have a blind spot, it's where is my blind spot? Because we all have them. That's why we need each other. Can I ask you, what is your culture, your nationality, your background?
Well, let's see. My grandfather and his wife came from Norway.
No, okay, so I love sardines. Without the Norwegians, I would not have my favorite sardines.
Okay,
so
King Oscar.
Yes, we all need each other.
I've been to their plant.
Excellent. So I'm telling you, that's where even something as simple as food, we need diversity. How much more in running a city, So I just thought I'd make that point.
Well, and I think it's a good point. And it's just so much that we need to look at. Now we've got issues too. We're going to run out of time here, but I mean regarding public safety in downtown. I mean, our downtown, the storefronts. We've got a 50% vacancy rate, which is abhorrent. And why are these storefronts vacant? Not big reason is because downtown has got a reputation for not being safe, and they've got vagrants and folks that are rousting people. And I know a lot of folks that a lot of women in particular won't go down there by themselves because they're concerned about folks giving them a bunch of gas. I mean, they don't need it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you a story that I know. Like I said, I've been around a while, and I know of people who have moved into areas that became like New London's downtown, dark, poorly lit, vagrants, homeless, helpless people. Some people just, unfortunately, they don't have a place to live.
Yeah.
And other kinds of activity, drug activity. And they've had churches or just people who have a strong faith get storefronts you're talking about, open businesses, and actually pray those people out of there. And those same people that were causing so much of a ruckus and so much of a problem actually started coming to these different establishments and becoming decent human beings because of how they were treated. I don't think we should abandon our city to darkness. What I mean by darkness is those negative things we're talking about. I don't think we should do that. I think we should take back our city. We should have people be willing to go into these storefronts. I know so many people personally who would love to have a business, you know, in downtown New London. Make it easier to get a business, you know, not be so hard and only give it to certain people, certain grants or certain money to start a business. The people will be willing to listen. This is our business, our livelihood. You're not going to come in here and do that. Now, if you need a helping hand, I'll do what I can do for you, but you have to respect this establishment and us, and whatever we can do to help you, we can.
Yeah. But I think that it's incumbent upon the city to have a police presence.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A very good friend of mine used to go up to Hartford Whaler hockey games up at the Civic Center years ago. And one time as he's going in, he's talking to a Hartford police officer. And he said, boys, you know, there's a lot of you guys out here. He says, and the cop goes, it's not important that we see you. Mm-hmm. It's important that
you see us.
That you guys see us.
That's true.
Because if you see us, give you a second thought before you're going to do something stupid.
A deterrent, yes.
So people will feel safe and feel comfortable going into the arena, coming and going to their cars, and doing whatever they're going to do before or after a ball game. And you need that comfort.
You do. You absolutely do. I remember speaking to the police chief a couple of weeks ago, and like I'm out and about in the city, day and night, and I just walked up to him and said, hey, how have you been? I haven't seen you in a while. And he was like, well, I've been out here in the street. Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear it, you know? But like you said, we need the police present as a deterrent. And of course, they want to be safe too, but they're trained to do what they do, whereas we're not, and we depend on them. So I agree, we need to have more of a police presence downtown. Not just downtown, in those areas that we know that are highly,
and the police know where the
volatile.
Troublesome areas are.
Exactly. You know, so I totally
and
agree with
London
that.
is so small that, you know, if there's an issue, wherever it may be, it's a black mark against the entire community.
That's
and
right.
it creates an issue where our neighbors, you know, they won't come in from Stonington or East Lyme
Waterford.
or Waterford or even the south end of the city.
That's true.
And that's not a good environment. I mean, you want people to feel they want to come here, and they're going to feel safe, and they're going to want to be an economic boom.
I recently met the deputy chief at a function at the new recreation center. Awesome guy.
Yep.
Very pleasant.
Okay, I just got the word there that we have run out of time.
It's always a pleasure to sit and talk
Well,
with
it
you.
is. Maybe sometime they'll give us a doubleheader here. But I want to thank you so much for
Thank you, Marty.
for coming in and sharing conversation. And folks, she's top shelf. Vote for Beloved. She deserves it. She'll do a great job. And thank you. We'll see you next week on City Focus, and I'll have Aaron Ide in. He's
Yes.
another Republican candidate. So tune in and find out what Aaron's all about. Good night.